Hello, welcome back to the tavern. Today we are talking about the subclasses for the Shaman class. We have two subclasses to go over today, so let's start by jumping right into it. Guided by Ancestors is our first one. This is all about party buffing, enemy debuffing, helping your teammates shine. This subclass will most likely appeal to someone who enjoys playing clerics and druids, especially if you have played the Order Domain cleric. This subclass and enjoyed it. This subclass should be right up your alley. So our first flagstone ability, really defining of the class, is Aid of the Many. At first level, whenever you cast a Shaman spell at first level or higher that cannot deal damage, you may select a creature within 30 feet of you or your spirit companion creature. That creature can use their reaction to make a weapon attack against a target of their choice. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. After that, you cannot use this ability again until you complete a long rest. So right off the bat, you have something to help your allies get actions out of combat, use their reaction to make an extra attack. Very fun buff. This subclass I am currently playtesting myself, and the only thing that I'm not sure about for Aid of the Many, I've pulled it almost directly out of the Order Domain Cleric and made a few adjustments. This allows a weapon attack, not a melee weapon attack. And I do not have to target the creature that I choose with the friendly spell. So the Shaman can cast Fairy Fire, which is on the Shaman spell list, and then select the rogue in the party to make a free attack as their reaction. And now they have advantage on that attack because I've just cast Fairy Fire. And because they have advantage, they now get a second sneak attack in that turn round. Because they got sneak attack once on their turn, and now they use their reaction, they could get a second sneak attack. This whole feature is all about making the party shine, giving the barbarian or the paladin more chances for that crit, letting the rogue do more sneak attacks. It's all about trying to help your party shine in chances when they're not really doing anything else with that reaction. So you throw out a Bless or a Bane spell, especially a Bless, you can then make one of your blessed allies get a free attack out of it as well. Notably, this is not considered an opportunity attack, so it will not stack with things like Sentinel, and it will not be able to be utilized by someone like that has Warcaster. They can't cast a spell as a free thing. So I didn't want it to be too powerful. The only way that I think I could make this better without making it too powerful itself, if the testing proves that you don't have enough uses to really make it shine, is adjusting the long rest to completing a short rest to gain the ability back. I'm not sure about it. I want to get more testing done and under my belt before I make any big adjustments to it. Next one, the Eyes of an Old Soul. When you make your pact with the ancestral spirits at first level, your connection to your family history becomes evident to many people, even if they don't recognize it for what it is. So you have advantage on all charisma checks made when interacting with any creature that shares a race with you. So this is a very powerful ability if you are a member of a race that is common in the setting or module that your DM and your party are playing through. This is also a ribbon ability. It's not meant to break the game wide open. It is more powerful than the Friend's cantrip because the person you interact with doesn't become hostile towards you at the end of a minute. But it's less powerful than something like Charm Person that exists on several spell lists because it's not applicable to every humanoid, and you can't pick and choose exactly when you need it. It's just either you have it or you don't have it. The reason I've chosen this is it feels a little bit more evocative. It gives you this role as a respected elder almost, or a respected individual, even if people don't realize why. They sort of give you like a nod and a begrudging acceptance, even if they're not going to open up their hearth and home to you. They sort of just acknowledge that you do something important for them. So that's the feel for the character. And they sort of see the look in your eyes. And that's why I chose the name Eyes of an Old Soul. Next ability, and this is really the flagstone ability for the Guided by Ancestors, Aura of Clarity. At 6th level, most casters get their tier 2 major ability that's not 3rd level spells at 6th level rather than getting it at 5th, because 5th level is when you get 3rd level spells. So you don't want to have it right away. Excellent examples would include something like the College of Swords and Valor Bard or the Bladesinger Wizard. They get their extra attack at 6 instead of 5th. So when you reach 6th level, spirits can subtly aid those in the vicinity of your spirit companion. So reliant on your spirit companion, that's a theme that is echoed in the other subclass as well. Whenever you or a friendly creature within 5 feet of your spirit companion, keep in mind your spirit companion is also a creature, so it gives itself the benefit. Must make a saving throw. The creature gains a bonus to the saving throw equal to your intelligence modifier at minimum of 1. You do not project this aura, only your spirit companion does. So it behooves you to have your spirit companion present in combat. And you can be right up front line with it, gaining the benefit of the aura as well. Or you could be hanging back, staying out of melee combat, but not benefiting from the aura. But this really incentivizes, at the very least, you to make sure that your spirit companion is present, fighting alongside your allies. This is pulled directly from the Paladin. It's adjusted, obviously, from Charisma to Intelligence, because that's the ability that matters for the Shaman. The range is decreased from 10 feet to 5 feet, because you can move the Spirit Companion 30 feet for free every turn, so you have a little bit of mobility on it. But the ability isn't meant to really break the game open, and it's not your primary ability, just like the Paladin uses Charisma sort of almost as their secondary, where their primary ability might be Strength or Dexterity, depending on their build. So really powerful ability, helps you, as if you're frontlining with it, maintain concentration on your spells better than the other subclass, and we'll come back to the concentration thing in a moment. Next thing, 10th level, Aided Focus. Starting at 10th level, your spells to help allies are more potent, bolstered by knowledge of your ancestors accumulated over aeons. Whenever you cast a spell that cannot deal damage, sensing a theme here, cannot deal damage as an action, not a bonus action, you can choose to cast a spell as a bonus action instead. You cannot use this ability again until you complete a short or long rest. So this is the other reason I'm thinking of dropping the first level ability to short rest, so that way all of the abilities for this subclass are tied to short rests, so you can reset them all simultaneously. At least up to 10th level so far. Really fun. It costs your bonus action, which you'll normally be spending with your Spirit Companion to help out with everything, but there are some very powerful things on the Shaman spell list. Let's jump down. So 10th level, we would have access to 5th level spells by that point. 5th level spells cannot deal damage. Hold monster as a bonus action, and then you can throw out that Shocking Grasp as a 10th level caster, or Mass Cure Wounds as a bonus action. Now it's a slightly more healing mass healing word. Greater Restoration as a bonus action. There are some very powerful things here that you can do. Wall of Force as a bonus action, once per short rest, but that's usually all you need, and then you can still get an action to like dash or hide or administer a potion to your dying ally or something. But you need to be able to block off. You can fast cast the Wall of Force to block the enemies, and then drop that potion into your teammate's mouth or something. Let's drop down to 4th levels. Banishment cannot deal damage. It is a bonus action. Now you can do it as a bonus action. Dimension Door, freedom of movement, free yourself. There are some really cool things in this list that could benefit from that fast casting without really breaking it open. And you only get one port per rest, effectively. So the ability will be really cool when you do it, but you only do it every now and then. All right, let's jump on to Blinded Trust. So once you reach 14th level, you feel that you can trust the spirits in times of direst need, but the cost of allowing their consciousness to influence is great. Whenever you fail a saving throw, so that means after you know whether you succeed or fail, you can choose to succeed instead. This is a very powerful ability. This is basically a legendary resistance that you're gaining at a cost. You take 48 damage and your maximum hit points are reduced by an equal amount until you complete a long rest. So you succeed on the save, but you are taking damage because you are allowing that border ethereal and your spirit that you've bound yourself to influence you so much that even though you are this resolute form of an individual, not necessarily a human, of anything, and you've honed your body to be able to channel these magics, this power is so great to be able to force yourself to succeed, you are going to take damage because of it. The damage cannot be reduced or prevented, so if you have resistance to something from, say, a potion or someone cast immunity on you, or anything, cannot be prevented. It is happening. You are taking damage. This damage does not cause you to make a concentration check for any shaman spell you are concentrating on. Now, if you have spell casting from another spell list and you have cast a spell that is not on the shaman spell list, you will still have to make a concentration check for such a spell. So it really behooves you to make sure that the spells you concentrate on are shaman spells once you get this ability. If you have multiclassed, of course. If you haven't, of course it'll be a shaman spell. Unless it's something like Hex or something that you've gained through Magic Initiate and its first level spell. Once you use this ability, you cannot do so again until you complete a long rest. This is staying as a long rest ability. Because the reduction of your hit points is long rest, because it's this powerful ability to just succeed on a save when you absolutely have to, or you feel that you absolutely have to, there was no question this needed to be a long rest recharge ability. So, very cool ability, very interesting. I considered making this ability you take damage equal to your shaman level, but I didn't like the idea that it gets more taxing and more dangerous as you gain levels. You gain more hit points than the damage that you take each level, so I guess it would balance out because you would, on average, gain 7 plus con mod per level, whereas this would cost you 1 damage per level, starting 14 up to 20, so I guess it would still balance out that way, but I like we're playing a dice game with Dungeons & Dragons, so let's roll some dice. All right. Next thing, final capstone for the subclass, shared experience. Once you reach 18th level, you have truly mastered the connection to your ethereal companions and learn to fully harness not only the power but the wisdom that they offer. You learn any 2 divination spells of 1st or 2nd level that cannot deal damage. Staying on the same theme here. You can cast them at their lowest level without expending a spell slot. Those spells are considered shaman spells for you and do not count against your number of spells known. So this is pulled a little bit out of the bard, the idea that they are now shaman spells, meaning you use your constitution to cast them. Any spell save DC that is affected by them is considered constitution, but you get to pull them from any other list, which is pretty interesting. They're divination spells, meaning you're tapping into the spirits a little bit to learn a little bit. Maybe you're picking something like out of the Critical Role, you're picking Gift of Alacrity. That can be role-played as you're casting, you always have this Gift of Alacrity going because the shamans the spirits alert you a little bit when there's danger present. And that contributes to that D8 bonus to your initiative roll. Or maybe Identify. You're not casting Identify like the wizard casts Identify. You're casting Identify by taking a look at the object and focusing in on the spirits that you're connected to and asking against their aeons of wisdom if any of them have ever seen anything like this item that you're trying to identify before, or seen whatever is affecting or afflicting your ally that you're currently trying to figure out. So there's ways to roleplay the divination spells because of your connection to these spirits. So that concludes the subclass that is known as Guided by Ancestors. If you do happen to playtest this subclass, I would be thrilled to get any feedback that you have gotten from actually sitting and playing at the table with the subclass, especially on the Aid of the Many and the Aura of Clarity. If they either feel too powerful or not powerful enough, these are the 2 abilities that I'm really curious about seeing how they function adequately. Now, let's jump into the other subclass, Guided by a Primal Spirit. You have found a particularly old spirit with whom to form a pact. They might have goals from when they once walked the world. Can't speak today. Or perhaps the aid they offer to you is that their goal itself, service above everything. Maybe they are an ancient animal spirit and they hope to aid you so that you might defend their descendants. Discuss with your dungeon master what motivations your spirit might have and what identity it might possess. So this is tying once again to that idea. Talk to your dungeon master. This is a nice hook for designing a character backstory and working with them to develop that dialogue of who this spirit is, what they might want, and do you know what they might want? Maybe it's something you have to learn as you level by casting commune spells and things like that. All right, first level, Ethereal Mind. At first level, the shared consciousness that has resulted from your pact with the Primal Spirit has fortified your mind from those who would exploit your will. Whenever you make an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw, you can use your reaction, so it costs your reaction, to add your intelligence modifier to the result. You can wait until after the roll until after you roll the d20 before deciding to use Ethereal Mind, but must decide before the DM says whether the roll succeeds or fails. So this is something similar to the War Magic Wizard, where you have this bonus that you can apply to saves, only intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saves, not strength, dexterity, or constitution. So that means it does not work on concentration. But the other saves that you make, you can have this nice little bonus. I tried to say bonus and benefit at the same time. This nice benefit to try to help resist some of these effects. So charm effects especially, you have this extra mind that is helping keep your clarity, your mind clear. So some fun thing, and there's no limited use on it. It's just intelligence modifier, limited use, cost your reaction. So the cost is still high to a degree. And keep in mind, if you are surprised, you do not have reactions. So if you're surprised in combat, as combat starts, you don't have your reaction if you haven't gotten your turn yet, and lost the surprise condition, because that's lost at the end of your first turn when you are surprised. So if you're surprised and the enemies roll higher than you in initiative, you don't have your reaction to resist a charm effect or a domination effect or a hold person like a wisdom saving throw. So you could still be susceptible to those effects. Fun, but not overly powerful. All right, next ability, Primal Instincts. First level, you gain the ability to cast the Augury spell without expending a spell slot or requiring material components. Once you cast a spell in this way, you cannot do so again until you complete a long rest. So once per day, you get to read the bones, have a little bit of a divination spell. You might be contrasting this to the 18th level ability that the other subclass gets, but the other one you get to pick any 2 divination spells. This one is you get 1 divination spell once per day. That's it. This is also meant to contrast as a ribbon ability. Am I going to be successful in gambling? Or, real quick guys, before we go into the market, let me roll the bones before we leave the tavern. Let me read the tarot cards. Are we going to find what we're looking for in the market? The DM might ask, what do you have in mind that you're looking for in the market? Oh, I was really hoping to find a +1 suit of ringmail for a halfway decent price. Or if I search long enough, will I find it? Or something like that. And it gives you... Augury is a tough spell for DMs. I've had it to interpret Augury before from the DM side of the screen. But it gives... One of the really cool things that it gives to players is it makes you think about what's going to be happening, what you're planning on doing. And as a DM, forethought like that is such a useful tool. You now know what the player is intending to do a little bit ahead of time. You know that they now intend to go to market and what they're planning to ask for. So you could have, now you can start spitballing what type of NPC are they going to meet. Are they going to be able to find what they're looking for? Are there going to be traps? Are there going to be pickpockets? Will they see a wanted poster of themselves maybe? Now you have an idea about what's happening, and the players themselves might still roleplay a little bit after the Augury spell's cast, giving you that time to prep instead of just all right, we're going to the market now. Oh, all right, what are you looking for? And have to pick it up right on the spot. Even those maybe 5 minutes of roleplay, that's a lot of time for a dungeon master to jot a few ideas down behind the screen, or at least get the gears turning ahead of time. So fun spell, fun ribbon, shouldn't overly break the game in any way. Dual consciousness, and this, as I said, we're going to return to concentration when I talked about the other 6th level ability. Once you reach 6th level, the Primal Spirit imparts some level of consciousness to your spirit companion whenever you conjure it. Whenever you cast a Shaman spell, notably it must be a Shaman spell, that requires concentration while your spirit companion is present, you can choose to have it concentrate on that spell instead of you. If the companion is destroyed, the spell on which is concentrating immediately ends. So this is a huge ability, and this is going to tie back to the concentration thing again. The other subclass, guided by ancestors, Aura of Clarity. If you are right next to your spirit companion in combat, you have this bonus of your intelligence modifier to your concentration checks. Probably a +3 to a +4 by 6th level, I would say, or maybe 8th level when you get your second ASI. I would probably try to get my constitution to 18 by 8th level and get my intelligence to 16 by that level. So that way I have a 4 and a 3 as my 2 primary ability scores. But so maybe a 3 roughly by 8th level, maybe a 4 by the end of the adventure and career. So you have these 2 things that are bonuses to concentration. I mean, the other one bonuses other things as well. And this is a scary ability for Dungeon Masters to have to interact with. The reason being, in the Dungeon Master's Guide, when it talks about homebrewing and editing classes to meet narrative points, one of the things that it cautions people of, it doesn't say don't do it, but it's cautioning, is messing with action economy, messing with concentration, and messing with casting per day, if I remember the 3 correctly. This immediately messes with the second of those 3. But the game itself already has things that break those types of molds. Messing with action economy, fighter, the reason people dip fighter 2 is to get action surge. It inherently breaks action economy. And if you are a wizard that dips fighter 2 and you cast fireball as an action, rules as written, you can then use your don't use your bonus action to cast a spell, but use action surge and then cast another fireball. It's not 1 spell per turn and then 1 cantrip. It's if you cast a spell as a bonus, if you intend to cast a spell as a bonus action, the other spell must be a cantrip. So with action surge, you are wide open breaking that action economy, which is huge. And druids and rangers have conjure animals, which totally breaks action economy very quickly. If you conjure wolves once with that, you realize how powerful it is. Honestly, I think it's a better spell than fireball. Comparable to hypnotic pattern. So this is a scary thing to think about, but also something that is easily overcome at about 6th level. At 6th level, a party of 4 to 5 adventurers might be starting to encounter mages who will know the Dispel Magic spell. If your spirit companion gets dispelled by Dispel Magic, not only have they stopped your concentration spell, they've also taken one of your allies off of the battlefield. If your companion is destroyed by damage, that spell's gone. One of my friends who's currently playtesting the Primal Shaman, the Primal subclass, what he's been testing out and found as a fun strategy is he'll use Spirit Guardians on the Spirit Companion, because it's a self spell, so you can focus it on the Spirit Companion instead of yourself. He'll sit back away from combat, and then he'll concentrate, and the Spirit Companion concentrates on Spirit Guardians, so that way, because if the Guardian's destroyed, the Companions are lost anyway. There's nothing for them to focus on, so might as well have it concentrate on them. And then he'll concentrate on Maximilian's Earthen Grasp. He'll try to restrain a target. The Spirit Companion will come up close, start getting advantage attacks as a bonus action. He'll squeeze it as an action, and then it's caught in Spirit Guardians too. Really cool strategy. Costs 2 3rd level spells. A 3rd and 2nd level spell. So it's still a high cost, and potentially a 1st level spell to conjure the Guardian. So there's high cost and high reward to this. And the reason I decided that this wasn't that game-breaking is the ways to overcome it aren't terribly large. Let's jump back up real quick so that way it is in the same video to the Spirit Companion. Its hit point, its AC is 10 plus your proficiency. So at 6th level, your proficiency is 3, so it has 13 AC. That is the same as a wolf. That is the same as a goblin. No, goblins have 14, I believe. That is the same as most beasts that you'll encounter in the game. Not terribly high. A goblin with a standard bonus of +5 is going to hit that creature more often than not, especially with pack tactics. Or kobolds with pack tactics will hit your Spirit Companion most times that they try to hit it. Now, its hit points are equal to your Constitution modifier plus twice your Shaman level. So 6th level, you probably have, let's say, an 18 in Constitution if you buffed it at a 4th level. So there'd be 4, 6, double to 12, so it has 16 hit points. So that's a healthy bit of hit points, and they have to hit the full amount of hit points to be able to take it down. Now, might seem like a hardy thing to do, but there are spells that can easily deal 16 hit points. Your 6th level, there's Lightning Bolt, there's Fireball, there's lots of powerful spells that can deal that much damage. Hell, a Spirit Guardian, pardon my language, Spirit Guardians can deal that much damage if an enemy cleric casts a Necrotic Spirit Guardians on them and you try to close it on them with the Spirit Companion. It might take that damage and really just be gone, and now you've spent a 1st level spell summoning the Companion, a 3rd level spell dropping Spirit Guardians on them, and you're currently concentrating on a 2nd level spell on Earth and Grasp, and half of your fighting force is just gone because you lost your Spirit Companion. A Dispel Magic, aptly timed, just cancels it. So there's fun interactions that you can have with this, and I wanted the design space for players who are creative to be able to try to mix it up a little and of what you can do with this opportunity to try to have 2 spells going at the same time. And the level 6 is high enough that this is not going to be a dip. This is going to be if you're going to level 6 in Shaman, even if you're another spellcasting class, only Shaman spells can be double concentrated on. Only your Spirit Companion can only concentrate on Shaman spells. So you could have a Wizard spell going, for example, like Blur if you dip to Wizard 3. So Dual Consciousness, really cool ability, high cost, high reward, and it sort of forces you to have to spend multiple spells in combat to really take advantage of it. And I thought that expenditure of resources you might have one really powerful fight in an adventuring day, but your other fights you might have to scale back a bit because you're either saving a 2 3rd level spells or a 3rd and 2nd level spell for this 1-2 combo, but now you can't spend those spell slots on other things during the day, or you've spent them and now you don't have them when you get ambushed in the middle of the night because you haven't finished your long rest yet. So this is very, very powerful if you're the type of party that has 1 encounter a day and that's it. This is going to be a very powerful ability in that type of adventure. But in an adventure module where you have multiple encounters in a day, it's not going to break the game at all. All right, next ability, Mixed Techniques. Your travels have garnered you exposure to many individuals, all skilled in different techniques of casting spells. You've picked up a trick or 2 here and there to augment your own abilities. Starting at 10th level, you add your Constitution modifier to the damage you deal with any Shaman cantrip. Short, sweet, to the point. Bonus, probably 10th level, you might have a +5 by then. You're probably at a +4 minimum by there, having an 18 in con by that point. You might be up to 20, depending on how you prioritize feats and ability score improvements. The reason I pulled this directly out of the Evocation Wizard and the Cleric ability that exists at 8th level for some of the Clerics. Some of the domains. Some of the others get a D8 on melee weapon attacks. But super easy. Gives the Primal Spirit this more of the idea. This is the offensive subclass, whereas the Guided by Primal Spirits, Guided by Ancestors is the defensive and buff subclass. This is offensive. You are meant to go up, deal damage, tank, in addition to helping allies. That obviously is still one of your roles, but you're going to be a little bit better at throwing out some cantrips here and there. That Vicious Mockery that you might have. Now you can reliably deal, at 11th level, at least, if you have +4 modifier, you're going to deal at least 7 damage with it. That's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. 10th level, you deal minimum, let's say if you have a +4, minimum 6 damage, maximum 12. Solid. All right, Supernatural Awareness, 14th level. Even if you are not constantly aware of your surroundings, your shamanic guide is. Whenever you would roll initiative, you can instead choose to have your initiative roll results equal your shaman level plus your intelligence modifier. So this is the other intelligence matters ability for the subclass. Each one of them have 2, if you've noticed. Additionally, you cannot be surprised unless you are incapacitated by something other than non-magical sleep. So this is a little bit of the alarm spell tied into it. You realize if something's intending to do you harm, so it negates some of that surprise condition, which is pretty cool. It helps balance out the ethereal mind. Now you can no longer be surprised unless you were charmed into sleep. If you were sleeping naturally, you're not surprised either. So now, even if you get a bad initiative result, and because you chose to roll, you can still have that reaction to buff that wisdom save against the dominate person that they're about to throw off at you. I like the idea of this consistently good initiative, this consistent initiative. So 14th level initiative, your intelligence modifier probably a +3, maybe a +4. So you can just say, nope, I got a 17. What'd you roll for initiative? I didn't roll. I'm taking the 17. 17's fine. I'll happy with that. The reason I like this is you're not really going to be, unless you really invested in your initiative, or your intelligence modifier, you're not going to be acting ahead of layer actions. And that 14th level, you will start seeing creatures with layer actions if you haven't already. You're not going to be beating them because they happen in initiative count 20. You're not going to be that far behind them either. So you have this nice balance. You will probably start acting ahead of initiative modifiers, maybe about level 16. You'll probably have a +4 by then in intelligence if you invest in it. And you'll probably be tying with layer actions by then, or maybe advancing past them once you hit 17th level and you're well into tier 4. So this is really the end of tier 3, beginning of tier 4 ability. Fun in the sense that you can you're not worried about bombing a roll and being set further back. This is about that ally buff moment. You have that opportunity to know that you're going to be doing all right. You're going to have that opportunity to throw out the fairy fire that you've been relying on to help your allies out, or pull up your spirit companion as a bonus action 30 feet away from you and throw that spirit guardians on them as your action. And now you have that area control set up in the beginning of earlier in combat than you would initially. Maybe you get that extra turn right in the beginning of the people that you default beat out in initiative. Finally, 18th level, capstone for the second subclass. Whenever you cast a spell slot, when you ever use a spell slot, so this doesn't work with the ethereal blessings, you must spend a spell slot to do this, to cast a shaman spell that can deal damage or provide healing, but does not require concentration. You can choose to deal maximum damage or heal the maximum amount with that spell instead of rolling. Once you use this ability, you cannot do so again until you complete a long rest. This is the Evocation Wizard's Overchannel ability. This is without damage, you can't of multiple uses. It's once per day. You get that mass cure wounds at maximum level, or you get that chain lightning to really deal significant damage. So when you have it, and when you have the ability and the spell and you really need it, you can blast it. Or you can save this ability as a defensive buff because you're already a little bit offensive, and have the chance to, when you really need that mass cure wounds, or even that cure wounds on yourself or something like that, you can reliably drop those hit points out to your team. So, fun ability. Fun capstone. You're obviously class capstone at 20 max hit points. Very cool. Combined with this, now you don't even have to include yourself in mass cure wounds because you got a ton. I hope you guys enjoy, guys and gals, enjoy the Guided by Primal Spirit and the Guided by Ancestors. Let me know which one's your favorite. If you do get the chance to playtest either of these, I would love to hear any feedback you have of time that you've spent at the table playing these, rather than just your gut reactions on read-through. Especially on Dual Consciousness, Ethereal Mind, how often do you use it? Primal Instincts, is the Augury spell helpful? And Aura of Clarity, have you found it to be beneficial? Aid of the Many, do you think it should be short rest or long rest? I would love feedback on any of those things that you guys do get. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my content to anyone you think might enjoy this type of channel. I love making videos for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and I hope you enjoy watching them. I talk about everything from homebrews, like my previous video, to subclass design, to reactions to popular media, and as well as playthroughs and tutorials, advice for dungeon masters and advice for players, roleplay tips, and encounter design things, how to work things on Roll20 and other digital media forms of playing, especially now in the age that more and more of us are transitioning to playing our favorite game online as opposed to sitting around the table having beer and pretzels with our friends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share my content. If you want to support me on Patreon or through PayPal, the links are in the description down below.